All right, so I will let you work on learning objective 10.3 on your own in the reading. So now let's talk a little bit about learning objective 4. Explain what tropism is and how it can impact pathogen emergence. So notice we've already had this word. We learned this word in chapter 6 when we were discussing viruses. Tropisms are not just limited to viruses. They expand to any pathogen. And a tropism is when a pathogen changes so that either how it infects changes, either expanding or diminishing, or what it infects. Does it infect more organs now? Does it infect more species? So this can also affect host range. On that note, anytime we bring up words again from previous sections, that means that they are still fair game for the next test. So mutual commensalism and parasitism are all fair game for the next exam. Microbiome, normal microbiota, tropism. So if I bring up a word again and it is part of a learning objective again, even though you may have been tested on it once, it is now still part of new material for the next. Because pathogens can change how or what they can affect, this is how we get pathogen emergence. Sometimes you may have a bacteria that has perfectly good qualities. Matter of fact, one of the best ones that we know of is E. coli. E. coli, for the most part, is not a problem. Every once in a while, though, we do get E. coli strains that are a problem. One of the ones that became a problem is when it changed. It was able to acquire the genes from another bacteria called Shiga toxin. Now all of a sudden, E. coli, which is perfectly good, part of your normal microbiota, more than likely a mutualist, but at least a commensalist at worst, now all of a sudden shifted, and now it has become pathogenic. Another one that's a very good example, so that's a bacterial example, but this is why SARS-CoV-2, our current COVID-19 process, this is how something that is typically a common cold, not too pathogenic, all of a sudden becomes a pandemic. What happened here, typically a cold will only affect your upper respiratory system. SARS-CoV-2 can affect both the upper and lower. It has changed what it can infect. Because it can infect more areas, it has become more virulent. And this has not just become pathogenic, but this has led to a pandemic. So anytime you have a tropic shift in a pathogen, because it has more ways of infecting, more places it can infect, this is when you get the reemergence of things or the new emergence of new diseases because they have changed with their environment.